Hello and welcome to Salisbury and Sweetnam's second sports podcast. Last week we got some good feedback, some good, some constructive, which is really good in this business. Welcome back, James.
Hello, how are you doing?
Yes, I am tremendous because
it's Pancake Day on Tuesday.
Come on!
I want to know what your favourite pancake is. I'm personally partial to a lemon and sugar.
I love a lemon and sugar too, and I want to... In fact, I'm going to start a campaign to keep syrup off our pancakes.
Controversial.
Well, it's horrendous. Also, it's not good for your health. And for somebody who watches their waistline like myself, it needs to be taken out of our stores and out of our pancake
Well, I
mix.
personally like bacon and syrup on a pancake.
Well, bacon and syrup doesn't go as it is, because bacon and syrup is ridiculous and American.
Yeah, I also quite like a strawberry, but anyway, talking about American, we had the Superbowl this weekend.
Yeah,
well, last weekend.
Brilliant, the Super Bowl. What a great sporting event it is. Overcharging the supporters who want to watch the greatest sporting event America has to offer, just to watch the highlight that was Justin Timberlake at half-time of one of the quarters, whatever. Yeah, we're not overly keen on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, not really an American football fan.
No.
It was won by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Chris Eagles.
Well, just you're not going to get anything out of this, but if you can tell us where Chris Eagles plays nowadays, we'll be really impressed.
I think it's Ross County.
Yeah, it could be Ross County. Anyway, moving on to real football, Dele Ali's cock has ended up on the internet, God bless him. What do you think about this?
Well, I just think it's absolutely hilarious that the Tottenham and England star is receiving fellatio on our screens, which is always nice to see. Yeah, he's on all that money. Why, James, can Dele Ali not purchase himself a razor?
I don't know, he was going a bit out of control, I think it's fair to say.
Out of control?
He could have done with some Will McKenzie hair removal cream.
Well, absolutely. He's got more hair down there than Ryan Sidebottom has on his head. And if you don't know the England and Yorkshire former left-arm opening bowler, then take a look at his hair.
Yeah, it's probably not brilliant for himself or his family, but I suppose it's a decent memory for Dele Ali to look back on. Anyway, Adam Lallana has caused a bit of a scandal this week. He's sort of, mounted and attacked an under-23 on the field of play. What do you think about this?
Well, let's be honest, there's absolutely no place for violence on a football field. I think it's disgraceful. Why couldn't he just kick the ball into the net? I needed one more goal in that game for 90 quid, and it's really, really annoying me that it didn't come in. But anyway, we go again, and hopefully Adam Lallana comes back too, because he's actually half decent at football.
Yeah, a French star has joined the Premier League, and he loves a Monday. Patrice Evra is back, playing for West Ham. What do you think about this?
I think Evra's a really good bit of business from West Ham. He had a really great time at United, really successful, won plenty of league titles, cup trophies, whatever. That great goal in Munich always springs to mind when you think of Patrice Evra. Things didn't quite go his way at Marseille. So it was good to see him back in English football.
Well, you shouldn't really be kung fu kicking fans.
Well, no, but they shouldn't be racist. But anyway, that's a debate for another day. Welcome back, Patrice.
Tottenham v Arsenal took place over the weekend. Big London derby.
Yep.
Any match analysis?
Not really, other than the fact that Alexander Lacazette should steal a point for the Gunners, but he couldn't quite do so. He had two golden chances in the final 10 minutes of that game, which he couldn't convert, and as a result, cost Arsenal a hint of embarrassment in the North London derby.
Yeah, Mourinho unfortunately still hasn't won at St James Park. It's a shame, really, coming from a United fan.
Yep, I think it's lovely.
Yeah, Alexis Sanchez has had a small issue with his taxes. What do you think about that?
Well, I think his taxes have gone missing like himself on the field of play.
I think he's a good player.
I think he's a good player, but unfortunately for Alexis, he goes missing far too often. Like I said last week, he's slightly overrated.
Well, I do rate Alexis. I think he's a workhorse. I think he's going to provide wonders for Manchester United this season and for many to come. Just a quick word on Liam Miller, please.
Yeah, Liam Miller, awfully sad, tragic, 36-year-old with a lot of talent in his day. He played for Man United, Celtic, Sunderland, Leeds. He was tipped to be the new Roy Keane. It's awfully sad that he's died at the age of 36, so I'd like to send our condolences to the family. Rest in peace.
Right, okay, thank you, Adam. Moving on to the boxing, we have our first super fight of the year. Yeah. George Groves versus Chris Eubank Jr. for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship of the World.
Yep, and I'm absolutely buzzing for this one. I think it's a great British fight, and it's for a world title, which is always brilliant. And in the World Boxing Super Series, I'm absolutely buzzing. Come on, George Groves.
Yep, I'm supporting the Saint as well. I'll be honest, when I think about this fight, I really, really do see it as a 50-50. You could argue Groves wins because he's got the experience, he's got the power, he's got an excellent jab. He's been in deep, which Eubank hasn't really. He's had mostly his own way in his fight so far. But George does struggle at that weight, and Eubank's pressure is relentless.
It is, but also Eubank hasn't come across a man with as much power as St. George Groves, and I think that will hinder a Eubank's work, keeps coming forward. I think if George Groves is able to land a couple of shots, that's going to stop Eubank from relentless pressure on the Saint. So I think Groves is going to get the better of Eubank, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Eubank win.
And Groves is going to have a huge weight advantage at the night. And if you think to Eubank's last few opponents, you've got the likes of Gary Spike O'Sullivan, people like that, Nick Blackwell, of course, who really just sort of stand in front of him. It's been a while since he faced an out-and-out boxer. For example, Billy Joe took him to school, really, for the first 6 rounds. Yeah. And we could argue that once he faces another boxer who's as skillful as George Groves, he's going to struggle again.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I think George Groves will just get the better, but what I will say is Eubank is drastically improved from that fight against BJ Saunders.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's blown away a lot of fighters that I didn't think he would blow away, like the previous round in the World Boxing Super
Series. Yildirim, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great result. So, I'll be honest, I'd love Groves to win, because I think Eubank is a bell end. However, he's a world-class fighter, he's British, so I think it'll be a great fight.
Both British.
So, tune in to ITV Box Office, because it'll be a fight.
Quick issue I've got with this. I feel that this fight is big, but it could have been much bigger. ITV decided to put both quarterfinals on pay-per-view. George Groves versus Jamie Cox and Chris Eubank Jr. versus Avni Yildirim. Unfortunately, neither of these fights are really pay-per-view fights. If they wanted to build George Groves versus Eubank, they should have put both fights live on ITV to get people interested, and then you could have done absolutely huge numbers, I think.
I absolutely agree, yeah.
Anyway, moving on, we've got a decent undercard. One of your favourite fighters is in action. Isaac Lowe challenges Ryan Walsh for the British title. What do you think about this?
I'm a big fan of Isaac Lowe, purely because he's local. He's from Morecambe, I think. So yeah, I'll be in Lowe's corner. He's a talented fighter, but as is his opponent, so yeah, it'd be a good undercard, I think.
Yeah, Ryan Walsh is the sort of seasoned veteran. He's won the British title outright, and you could argue that maybe he'll have a bit too much for Isaac on the night, but Isaac is young, he's hungry, and he definitely wants to win this fight.
Absolutely.
Another British title fight, Tommy Langford, who's coming off a loss to Advin Talcott-Sidzi for the WBO Interim Middleweight Championship of the World, defends his title against a lad from Blackpool, Jack Arnfield.
He does, and get ready, strap yourself in for a snooze fest. Yeah, the last couple of fights with Jack Arnfield have been absolutely terrible. I remember on the Crawler Linares undercard, a fight with Brian Rose put us all to sleep. Me and James were in the arena that night. Bloody hellfire. No one could get up for the main event that night, purely because of the Arnfield fight and maybe a bit of women's boxing, but we won't get into that now. Yeah, but I think Arnfield wins. I think Sweetnam thinks...
I'm favouring Tommy Langford.
Langford, yeah. I just think Langford... is gone, really. I think Arnfield will record a point to win.
Yeah. David Hay is back on Dave TV with another show live from York Hall. Joe Joyce returns and he's fighting Rudolf Josic. And I'll be honest, I don't know too much about Rudolf, but I think he'll have a red nose by the end of the night.
And he's got a tremendous name. Yeah. Rudolf.
Yeah, he's 4-1 and from Croatia, so you'd imagine it'd be a fairly simple night's work for Joe. But, of course, he took a really hard fight against Ian Lewison for his debut, and I think it's just nice to keep him busy, keep him active before a big fight on the Hay Bale card in May.
Yeah, I agree,
yeah. Quick word on Roy Jones Jr., 49 years of age. He was one of the greatest fighters who's ever lived, really. 4-weight world champion, Unfortunately, he's tarnished his legacy slightly by carrying on longer than maybe he should have. But it's nice to see now he's finally called it a day and he can focus on analyst work for HBO.
Yep, I agree. Roy Jones Jr., 46 fights. That is absolutely massive in this day and age. And for a 49-year-old to go into the ring midweek and blow his opponent away on points, which he did ultimately, he effectively won every round, was great to see. So, he went out with a bang. And we wish Roy Jones all the best.
Former world champion Danny Garcia is back this weekend. He takes on Brandon Rios in the States. And Ronald Gavril will get his chance at redemption against David Benavidez for the Super Middleweight World Championship on that undercard.
A good weekend of boxing.
Yeah, and Miguel Berchelt defended his world title this weekend in Cancun, winning by third round stoppage. Well, if you're a cricket fan, you've probably not had a particularly good weekend. England lost quite comfortably to Australia, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, we got absolutely hammered. And to receive the news that our star captain, Owen Morgan, wasn't able to play, England were always backs against the wall from the get-go in Australia, really. Slumped to 137 for 8. I was on the train at this point, so I didn't catch too much, but I do know that England were were never really in it, and limped to that score, and Australia blew it all away, really. 14.3 overs or something, they knocked it off, so to be fair, they've absolutely murdered England there. But in a tri-series that kicks off on Tuesday morning for England in New Zealand, hopefully they will fare slightly better in that, because they have got a really talented one-day side. We send our best wishes to Owen Morgan and the boys. Sweetnam actually watched this game. Watched the highlights of the game. I couldn't quite get in to watch the game.
Yeah, I'm not really a cricket fan.
Yeah, what did you make of it, James?
Well, I wrote some notes, and this is really basic stuff. Right. I wrote, Finch catch, the ball went really high. Small fumble, but he got it. Stan Lake, I thought his bowling was good.
Yeah, Stan Lake's about 9 foot. One felt him steaming in at me.
Yeah, I thought there was some excellent fielding from Warner.
Yeah, Dirty Dave.
Yeah, I thought huge 6 from Billings. Lovely shot from Billings. Billings is fucking quality. Billings caught comfortably.
Goodbye, Billings.
Anyway, moving on. The Premier League of Darts continued. Yeah. What city were we in this time, Adam?
We were in Cardiff.
Cardiff. The opening game was Michael Smith versus Daryl Gurney. Michael, of course, has struggled over the past couple of years to get his talent to produce the matches he should be having. But he won this week, 7-4, and it's good to see him get 2 wins in 2 weeks against Daryl Gurney.
It's great to see Michael Smith playing well, because I think I mentioned it last week. He's really frustrating. He's got all the talent in the world, and for the last couple of years he's slightly tossed it off. But this year he looks really focused, looks really good. He's been playing great darts in the Premier League, great darts in the UK Open. He started with a whirlwind against Gurney. He took the first 3 legs, but Gurney responded like the champion he is, and made it 3-3. But from there on in, Michael Smith played the best of darts and won the game relatively comfortably in the end.
Yeah, something I spotted and predicted. Simon Whitlock took on Rob Cross. Simon's been playing well recently, and Rob was struggling leading up to that. I spotted him I thought Simon could win the game, and he did. He won very comfortably. He actually didn't play that good, but it was enough to, hammer Rob Cross 7-1.
Yeah, neither player played particularly well on the night, but Rob Cross was absolutely diabolical. I was watching with James on the night, and I slightly regret this comment because of Rob Cross's performances over the weekend in Wigan at the UK Open qualifiers. But what I said to James was, Rob Cross ought to withdraw from the Premier League and just brush himself down, reflect on his Worlds win, and come back stronger than ever. Because at the time I didn't think he could do that in the cauldron that is the Premier League. I know playing in Wigan with no supporters there is slightly pressure off, but for him to come in and get to the final, I think it was, in Wigan, only to lose to Corey Cadby, it was great for his confidence. Hopefully he can come back next week with a bang, because Rob Cross, let's be honest, is a fantastic player. Yeah,
very good player. Peter Wright defeated MVG and won me £37. Really happy with Pete.
Lovely gambling.
He struggled last week, obviously. We mentioned that he changed his darts, but he went back to basics this Thursday, and produced an excellent game and took the win against the world number one.
Yeah, he played really well. Every time me and James watch his snakebite against MVG, we seem to always say, hold your throw and you'll win this match. And that happened again this week because he got an early breaker throw against MVG. And we were saying, just hold your throw, snakebite. And then next leg, guess what? He gets broken himself. But anyway, yeah, snakebite was absolutely fantastic this week. Like James said, returned to basics and played excellent darts. I saw him tweet the day after, actually. He said, every time in the past that I played MVG, I've let him off. But this time, he let me off. And that was a nice thing to see from Peter Wright. Because obviously, he's got confidence issues, but that should give him an abundance of confidence.
Yeah, talking confidence, I just want to quickly go back. Michael Smith said, I'm sick of being third best, second best. I want to be the best. And that's what we want to see from Michael Smith. He's got all the talent in the world, and it's nice to see him coming out with comments like that.
Yeah, I criticised him last week for saying he doesn't quite feel like a win because he beat Gary Anderson. Look, he's just beat Gary Anderson, that's a fantastic win. And he's beaten the Grand Prix champion in Gurney, which is fantastic. Great start to the Prem.
Talking Gary Anderson, we got the grudge match on Thursday. Gerwyn Price, the Welsh hero, took on Gary and got a beating. He lost 7-3 against the Flying Scotsman.
He got absolutely hammered, let's be honest. Yeah, Sky kept portraying Gerwyn Price as this absolute hero of Wales, and when he returned to Cardiff, he got an unbelievable reception. And from what I saw, Gerwyn Price just got the reception like any normal other player. A few claps and a few people joining in with his walk-on song. Look, I don't think Gerwyn Price is particularly likeable. He tried to rev himself up against Anderson. Anderson wasn't having any of it, and really produced the goods. It was great to watch, actually. It's good to see him recovering from that back problem, which has put him back over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, fantastic. Raymond van Barneveld versus Mensah Suljovic closed the night, and Raymond won the game 7-5. It looked at points as if Mensah could find a way back into the game, but Barney held strong. And
Bernie?
Yeah, Bernie.
That's a new one.
Weekend at Bernie's. But anyway, yeah, Barney held strong and managed to win the game. Really happy for him.
He did, but Mensah Suljovic have ample chances to get a draw. I honestly thought it'd be a draw on the night. I thought it was easier to predict, and it would have been easier if Mensah Suljovic actually started hitting the double when it mattered. But yeah, Raymond was in clinical mood really, and won the game. It's great to see RVB winning games at the top level.
Yeah, he's playing really well at the moment,
we
Barney.
Love Barney. Go on, Barney. Go on and win it. He's always a high price to win these tournaments, and we always say he's too high, but he always gets knocked out in the quarterfinals. And so the bookies have it relatively right. But this time, we are desperate for an RVB success this year.
Yeah, it's a shame because Mensah Suljovic hasn't recorded a point on the board as of yet.
He hasn't. He's actually played some unbelievable darts. I recall on the first week he hit 3 ton-plus checkouts, only to be defeated by
The Wizard.
The Wizard, yeah, and this week he wasn't bad at all. He just missed darts when it mattered, and that's what happens in this game.
And that's how the Premier League stands at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah, we discussed last week that Adrian Lewis assaulted an opponent.
Yeah.
And he's received a suspension, hasn't he?
A suspended sentence, yeah. So he can come back and play darts, unless he starts twatting people on stage again, and then he will receive that sentence. But yeah, I think it's good work from the PUDC. Ultimately.
There you go again.
There we go. Get in!
Ultimately.
It's a mistake from AD, which he will learn from. Hopefully his darts continue to speak because he's a world-class player.
Okay, a quick word on Corey Cadby.
Yeah, Corey Cadby won qualifying day 6 in Wigan, and this guy's a serious rising star. I mean, he's from New Zealand, and he's
from Australia.
Australia,
not the same country. Come on.
Yeah, that is awful for me, by the way. Someone who prides himself on knowledge of darts, but yeah, that's awful. But yeah, Cadby, great player, rising star, has beaten Rob Cross, and he's got a bit of swagger. I mean, he's a big unit, a lot of tattoos, and when he hits the darts at the right time, he lets you know about it. I mean, he loves a boom and an R and a head, and a head bang and all that.
Despite resembling a porcupine, he's one of the sport's best young talents, as he showed at the World Series of Darts events in Auckland last year.
Yeah, he beat Taylor, didn't he?
Yeah, he did beat Taylor. And I think in the coming years, he'll probably be featuring in the Premier League about 3 or 4 years down the line.
Yeah, definitely. And who could discount him? Because he's a quality player and he's only going to improve.
Yeah, moving on to the mixed martial arts. UFC 221 took place over the weekend. In the main event, it was Yoel Romero versus Luke Rockhold. Now, unfortunately, Yoel Romero missed weight, which is always
I can't stand that, mate. I mean, you sign a contract to make a weight and to fight an opponent. If you're going to toss that off and just go into the octagon with someone who's lighter, no wonder you see the result that we saw the other night.
Luke Rockhold looked really rough at the weigh-in, and he didn't seem himself in the octagon either. When he beat Chris Weidman for the UFC middleweight title, he seemed on top of the world. He looked really confident. And I think it's fair to say Michael Bisping took his soul with that left hook. It's the same left hook that David Branch wobbled him with in his last fight, and this time Yoel Romero caught him, and it was curtains. I think Luke needs to reevaluate his career, potentially move up to light heavyweight. DC's on the cusp of retirement now, and if you look at that division, there's not too many big names. You'd fancy him against Jimmy Manuwa, etc. So I feel that he's got a potential chance of becoming a two-weight world champion if he moves up to that division. Meanwhile, Yoel, he didn't win the interim title as he missed weight, but he'll probably still get an opportunity at redemption against Robert Whittaker. I personally think that Robert Whittaker is the best middleweight in the world, and I feel he'd beat Yoel Romero for a second time. I think he's all wrong for him style-wise.
I've got a theory. I think you should get a ban for a couple of months, maybe 3 or 4 months, a heavy fine, because fighters need to stop. I mean, we mentioned Carson Jones
last weekend,
tossed off missing the weight last week, and Romero's done exactly the same this week.
30% of his purse went to Rocco, but that's not really.
Well, it's not when you're just being laid out.
Yeah, when you lay out on cut shots, it doesn't really make up for it.
It should be 100% and a win on record, a win on Rockall's record for me.
Yeah. I'm gutted to have to inform you that Mark Hunt was defeated over the weekend. I love Mark Hunt. He's a legend of the game. He fought Curtis Blades, and in the first round, Mark looked good. His head movement was excellent. Despite Curtis Blades' extremely long reach, he couldn't hit Mark. He really could not lay a glove on him. Mark wobbled him at the end of the first round and actually dropped him, but unfortunately Curtis got back up and grappled his way to a points decision. The Australian crowd were booing. But to be fair, if you're not going to beat somebody standing up, you need to take them down to win the fight, and that's what Curtis did. Australians
don't like it when they lose.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And Mark Hunt also retired, like I said last week, but I don't want to sound like a broken record. Move on.
Yeah, we love Mark Hunt. Jake Matthews defeated Jing Liang in an unbelievable fight. I was really happy about that because Jing Liang actually attempted to eye gouge him. It was horrible, and I'm really glad that Jake managed to get the victory.
Absolute filth.
Yeah, Jing Liang should face a heavy suspension, in my opinion.
And fine.
Tyson Pedro got an excellent Kimura in his fight. And Tuvesa got a knockout, the big Australian heavyweight, covered in tribal tattoos. He's a big unit, and he battered his French opponent, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Now, something I've got a small issue with. UFC 222 was set to be headlined by Max Holloway versus Frankie Edgar. Unfortunately, Max had to pull out, so UFC was scrambling for a new main event. They got Brian Ortega to take the fight with Frankie Edgar, and it would have been nice, in my opinion, to see that is the main event. A 5-round fight for the interim title. That, for me, could have sold pay-per-views. However, they've made that a 3-round fight, not for the interim title, and they've made it a co-main, and instead, they have Chris Cyborg versus Yana Kutskatsai is the main event. And if you could tell me who Yana Kutskatsai is, I'll give you any sort of reward you're interested in. She's unknown, she's from Invicta, it's a mismatch, and I think they're really going to struggle to sell pay-per-views, and it's a shame because the co-main event is a brilliant, brilliant fight.
However, she's an outstanding-looking person for a UFC fighter. That is a fact. Look her up.
Yeah. UFC 225, the Octagon goes to Chicago for the first time live on pay-per-view. Now, a rumoured return is scheduled, not 100% confirmed, but CM Punk will be back in an Octagon in his hometown. Would you like to see CM Punk again?
I'd like to see CM Punk's go to sleep Not him go to sleep. Him use his WWE finisher, go to sleep. Yeah. So get back in a WWE ring and get out of the octagon. It's ridiculous. I'll tell you what I do want to see.
Go on.
Aaron Chalmers back in an octagon.
No.
And the man who's known for his on-off relationship with Marnie G. Shaw, Aaron really ought to get back to do what he does best, and that's knocking out spastics in Newcastle or London, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. He might be taking... Mike Jackson is the rumoured opponent. He, of course, lost to Mickey Gall. He's not a particularly good fighter, and it's an opportunity for CM Punk potentially to get a win under his belt in the octagon. Not saying he will, because Mike Jackson probably could still maybe get the better out of him.
I'd get the better out of
as
fucking
far
CM Punk.
as winnable fights go, you're not going to find an easier fight in the UFC other than Mike Jackson. Is he good enough for the UFC? Absolutely not. But I like CM Punk, and I hope he does well in whatever he chooses to do.
Unless, I'll tell you what could be successful if you brought out the Nexus with him.
Yeah, Wade Barrett. Yeah. Bad News Barrett.
yeah, the man who went to Whitefield Primary School. Yeah. There's your fun
we touched last week on a potential Michael Bisping retirement. He's been caught up by Lyoto Machida, who of course is a former world champion himself. I like the fight. I think it's a winnable fight for Mike, and I wouldn't mind seeing it as a retirement fight.
In Clitheroe?
Well, in Manchester more likely. But yeah, Michael's a legend, and this is the sort of fight I'd like to see him take before he retires. Okay, our technical producer is currently looking at pictures of that blonde woman we mentioned before, Yana Kitskatsai. He's given us a so-so review of her looks.
And he's looking at a naked picture.
The picture is not naked. She's in her octagon gear. Final word for mixed martial arts. Kimbo Slice would have been 44 this week. May he rest in peace. Good lad, Kimbo.
Yeah, rest in peace. Great rapper as well.
I didn't know he rapped.
No, did I?
Once had a feature in Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh.
Nobody likes Jake and Josh.
Drake and Josh is quality. Part of my childhood, and I still have it on series length for a bit of nostalgia. Anyway, final touches before we go off air. If you are in the Manchester area on Saturday, lock up your daughters. Kelly Sutherland is in town. I dread to think how much Colombian marching powder he'll be snorting over the weekend at Eubank Groves.
Fighting dust as well, yeah. Like we said last week, Kelly loves cocaine, loves sex, and loves the World Boxing Super Series. Something that James also loves.
Yeah. Not cocaine, obviously, the World Boxing Super Series. Anyway, we'd like to thank you for watching us this weekend. It's Valentine's
Day. Also, this man died when Arsenal were actually half decent. So, if you can tell us who it is, then you win a lollipop. Well done.
You don't want a lollipop, and I just want to say this. I want the velvet tones of Barry White to carry out the show. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.